What I'm going to do is show you the proper way to approach and saddle a horse. Notice when I go up there, I'm not going to sneak up there to ease the blanket on him. Especially with a green horse, you do want to just walk up there nonchalantly and then let him smell the blanket and stuff. But this is not a green horse, but I'm still going to let him smell the blanket, but I'm not going to creep up and sneak it on him. I'm going to walk up to his shoulder. The same area you go to when you halter the horse. The approach to a horse is always to the shoulder. I'm just going to throw the blanket on. Once I've got it situated pretty good like I like it, I'm going to throw the saddle on. When you walk around the horse, you always want to walk close to the horse like I did. So if for some reason he did kick, he couldn't really hurt you because you're right up against him. Now if I walk further out of the way, then he could get some leverage and he could really kick me. But I keep my hand on him the whole time I'm going around so that he knows where I'm at and I don't surprise him when I get to the other side. So I've let my girths down on the other side. We'll show you in a minute how to put those up. If you notice, the back girth is already conformed to his stomach, and that's due to the way we put them up when we put our saddles up. You always put the front girth on first, and you take it off last for safety. Okay, I've got one wrap. Now I'm fixing to do two. And you'll notice where I've got the girth here, it's not too close to his shoulder so that it doesn't impede any of his stretching. Also, it's not too far back so that it's in his belly. There's a natural indention here that the creator of these horses made, knowing one day we'd be riding them, and you can put the girth right there and it'll stay snug and won't be moving on you. I don't tighten it up a lot at first. I just get it snug, simply because you want your horse to stay comfortable. You don't want him to know when he gets the saddle on he's going to get cut in two and just, cramped up with it. So you want him to stay comfortable. He is very comfortable. Also, I'm over here towards the rear of the horse for the camera, but most of the time when you're saddling, you're going to be right here. You don't want to be to the rear of the horse, simply because he can kick out. You never know what may be bothering him. It may be a fly. It may be anything up there that would cause him to kick out, but he'd get you in the process. I'm going to reach under and get the back girth, and I'm going to snug it up. I put it snug simply because it is a tool on the saddle. If you don't put it snug, then what will happen, it'll be loose. I've seen them hanging down this far. And it'll get a stick in there caught. It could get, if he's got flies under his belly, he could reach his foot forward and try his back foot forward and try to get the flies off. And in doing that, he gets it hung in the back girth, and then you've got a wreck coming. So keep your back girth. If you're going to use a back girth, let it be of use to you and keep it snug. It doesn't have to be tight, but just snug. Back girths are essentially for roping, so that when you dally under the saddle horn and you've got a cattle in front of you that you've roped, it won't pull your saddle up. Or even for trail riding and going down hills that are pretty steep, it'll tend to come up, kind of like his tail's doing. So we're going to go to the breast collar now. If you're not as tall as I am and you can't look over, you can just feel your way around. Instead of walking around, you'll get to where you can feel these things. And if you put it up correctly, then it'll just come off correctly too when you go to saddle them up. And if you notice the order that I put everything on the saddle, it'll come off in just the opposite order. The breast collar needs to fit snug, but not so tight to where it's choking him, but not so loose to where it's hanging down on his shoulders and rubbing him. Because if you go to riding several hours at a time, it'll begin rubbing down here. Then he'll get sores and you'll have a sore horse. You won't be riding for a while. So That's a good point. This breast collar has a curvature to it, which is a very good breast collar. Some of them are pulling collars. They come up here, which are also good. I'm going to snap the breast collar here to the girt. And if you notice, the ring for this breast collar on this girt is right in the middle. And it's not to one side or the other, because if you put it to, if it's over here on the side, then obviously this middle strap of the breast collar's got to come against the leg to snap to it. And then all the time it's rubbing, and it'll gall his leg on the inside. So you want it in the middle, that way everything stays in the center. It's kind of like wearing your pants on crooked. So that's it, our horse is saddled. Okay, I'm going to approach again to his shoulder and make some type of contact with him and put the bridle on. So some people leave the halters on with the bridle. You can do whichever you like. I typically like to take mine off. It's just less on his head and interfere with what he can feel me wanting him to do. So I'm going to take, for safety, I'm going to throw the reins around him here, and then I'm going to take the halter off and put it around him. So if you're in a 400-acre pasture, you want this to happen, because you don't want him to bust away and then get away from you. It's a long walk home. So now I can take my reins back off of him, and you see his face is bare, so we can put the bridle on him easily. So if you notice, I've spread the bridle with my left hand. My right hand is reaching over between his ears. I want him to come to me. And the reason I want him to come to me and face me, if he runs off, he's going there, he's not running over me. So I'm going to guide it like this. First thing I'll do is pull it up, make sure everything's okay. See, I pulled the bit even past his lips. Now I'm going to slide it back down and ease it in his lips. Now if he doesn't want to open his mouth, I just stick my thumb in the side and they'll open their mouth every time. So then I'm guiding the bridle on. And again, a lot of this is feel. You can kind of feel if it's even on his head. I'll pull the chin strap around. On this particular bridle, it's got split reins, so I can just let both of them hang there. I'm going to take this off now. And now I have control of my horse. I could have put these over my hand when I did it, but if you have roping reins, which is one continuous loop, say like so, you don't want to let them hang down, so you always want to unsnap one of them if you don't have split reins and let it hang. Reason being, the horse can start walking forward or something scared, and he'll reach forward and stick his foot right in those reins, and then the wreck's coming. So always be mindful of what could happen. It's not necessarily that it will, but be mindful of what could happen, and that'll keep you a lot safer than you would wishing you had later. On the bridles, we can go into a lot of detail about the fit and everything, but this just needs to, it needs to just, I've seen some hang way down and some really tight. It needs to be kind of a middle. You can just, you can put 2 to 3 fingers between the strap and his chin. The curb chain, it all depends upon what you need as a rider. This one is pretty loose. We don't need a lot of attention on him. He's pretty broke in the mouth. So, but you don't want it so tight to where it's rubbing in there and he'll get sore and get galled on his chin strap, on his curb chain. So that's it. And if you're going to lead him off, again, if you have roping reins and they're not split reins, undo one of them and lead him off. If you've got split reins, just keep both of them in your hand and lead him off like, double it in your hand. You don't ever want to do one like this and then it tighten up in your hand and have your hand in there. So always be mindful of doubling your slack, whether it's a lead rope or your reins.